Hello everybody, Shirley here, and today is that day. It's been about about 2 weeks now. Well, I hope the wait is worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my seminar. I'm Danny Shirley. I am a Bigfoot researcher, and I also research in particular other areas in my research that has to do with not only Sasquatch, early hominins, hybrids, and so what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be going over some topics with you, and I got 4 particular topics I'm going to cover today, and welcome to my seminar. And I will be hosting it for you. Okay? Now, so we're going to start out with topic number 1. Now, the most common question that I get asked is, why do I do this and what got me started? I'll take you back to 1967. I was 14 years old. And I'll never forget, I was with my dad. And we went up fishing up in Oregon, because my dad wanted to fish for some steelhead. And of course we went and fished off the Klamath River. Well, when we got situated, we sat down and we cast our poles out, and as we were sitting there fishing, and of course we had conversation. Then my dad brought up this story about this big hairy man, which was called Bigfoot. Native Americans call him Sasquatch. Now my father was an avid hunter and fisherman, and he was also a guide. He was a very intelligent man when it came into the forest. He taught me everything I know today. So anyway, while we were sitting there fishing, and he went on to tell me this story about this big hairy man, which he heard some stories from some friends of his that were Native Americans. The particular friends he had, they were Native Americans. They were part of the Badu tribe, which is up here in the Sierra Nevada mountains. So they went on to tell him many stories about Sasquatch. And as my dad was telling me these stories, right across the Klamath River was this huge mountain, and all covered with pine. And I mean thick pine. So as my father was telling me this story of this Sasquatch, I was totally memorized on the side of this mountain on the other side of the river. And as I was looking to the side of that mountain, and I was focused on it as he was telling me the story, I can't explain it, but then all of a sudden, I got the most eeriest feeling inside. Like something on the other side that was on that side of that mountain was watching us. I knew at that point in time there was eyes upon us. The rest is history. That's what got me started. And when I did finally commit to do full-blown research, which I've been doing for the last decade, and I have documented everything in the last decade, I have uncovered evidence. I have put an osama together of what Sasquatch really is. Now, throughout the years, there wasn't much evidence to go by, except for what? Feet. Footprints. That's all they had to go by. For many and many years, they did not know what their diet was. They didn't even know if this entity was real or not. Was it a myth? Was it a legend? Is it real? They had not even a clue about this entity whatsoever. But that's when I came in the picture. I told myself when I first started this venture that I was going to conduct the type of research that has never been conducted before. And I set out to do such. And I did. I believe throughout the years that I have collected information, evidence that's never been collected before. Period. I know these facts is because when I first started in this, I knew everything that was on the internet. I knew everything was in a newspaper. I have read, I don't know, about every book on Bigfoot there is. I did have, before I started my full-blown research, there was a conversation I had a few times with a particular gentleman who lives up Northern California, and his name is Sean Fries. Now, I know Sean has written some books. We've had some pretty good conversations. Also, in the last decade, I've also had the privilege to be in that one circle, rubbing elbows, with particular other types of researchers. But at that moment, once the debating started, I stepped outside that circle and decided I got to do this on my own. So ever since then, that's the way it's been with my research. So, that is what got me started. I wanted to know a few major questions. Number one, is it real? Number two, if it is real, what are its origins? Where did it come from? How did it get here? These are questions I had to know. I also wanted to know what its diet was. Other variety of things that it can do or cannot do. I don't know. I won't know until I get into this research. And so for the last decade, that's exactly what I've done, and there's no doubt in my mind I have probably put together the best asama of evidence of the proof of the existence of Sasquatch, which is nothing other than a hominin hybrid. So, there you go. That's why I got started. Now, I'm going to go on to topic number 2. As you all well know, from the previous videos that I had put up, that we've had some hellacious fires here in California, Oregon, and the state of Washington. The whole northwestern Pacific coast is kind of like burning up. In some particular areas, in the mountainous areas off the coast of California and even more inland in California, and that's northwestern Pacific West Coast, there is probably quite a few hybrids that have been displaced because of the fires. And my guess is probably lost some too, as well as other animals in the forest. But my concern was one of the hybrids. Now, I'm more than sure they had scattered about every which direction, but what they're going to look for is a place where they could claim a territory, because they are territorial, and a place where they could survive and continue on living. And what they're going to be looking for is the right habitat and the right environment that they can survive in and keep existing. Now, just 2 weeks ago, I was up in one of my research areas, and guess what? I came across that I recorded 3 different dropping areas, and the scat that was left behind was a type of scat, the coloration I've never seen in my area that I've been researching for years. Now, I've researched up and down the Sierra Nevada mountains from all the way up north, all the way down south, and points in between. Now, I've never seen this kind of coloration on scat, Sasquatch, before like this. So it's an indication that another species of hybrid is now in that area. And I continue to investigate and research that area, and this is what my conclusion was. There was a fourth pile of droppings that I did not record because I didn't come on it until later on. This one surpassed the other droppings as in diameter. By examining the diameter of the droppings basically tells me the size and pretty much, well, the age level of the Sasquatch. Well, I'm going to just say the hybrid. And so what I have is actually it's a family of hybrids that have moved into the area. We have a full-grown male adult. His scat droppings in diameter were over 3 inches in diameter. I know one is a female, and I have 2 juniors. 4. It's a family. Now, this is where I am really curious about, because see, I know the area they're in, which is 2 different groups of hybrids, which I've already documented, but they are linked to each other. They are related to each other. These 2 particular groups is the ones that I call the south side group and the north side group. I've explained this many a times. Now the coloration of their scat droppings is completely different than the new ones. I found one area where the south side had left some evidence, as in droppings, which was on the outside of where I found the new droppings, which is an indication that they are watching the new refugees in the area. I do know the south side and north side group are totally territorial. Each group has a 5-mile radius of territory between the 2. The 2 do crisscross with each other all the time. They can combine their territory, which gives them 10-mile radius. Now that the new refugees has intervened into the south side's territory, this is where it's going to get a little tricky, because I don't know how the south side's going to react. They're either going to get aggressive and hostile and be intimidating, or they're basically going to welcome them with open arms. I won't know until I get into it a little deeper. So I will be back up there within the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to that's the first thing I'm going to start investigating. And I also have a night one I'm going to be coming up doing, because I know you guys have been wanting to see a night one. Now, so we shall see when I get back up and cover that and see how our new refugees are doing, okay? Now, I'm going to go to topic number 3. Now, like I said, through the last decade, I have put together an ensemble of evidence. So what I've done is I've chosen what I call the best direct evidence of the proof of the existence of these hybrids. Okay? Now, what I want to start off with, is this. Now, you guys remember this. Now this was the digging stick that I documented and recorded by video. Some of you have seen it, probably maybe some of you haven't. This is an actual tool that was used by one of the hybrids on one of the sites I was at, where they were digging up and looking for food, roots, insects and such. And they were also digging up food that they bury and they come back and retrieve it later. As you can see, this is probably the same type of tool that was used thousands of years ago. The same type. And as you can tell, the handle part, that's pretty big. This is where they would grab it and they dig. I also discovered that this has multiple uses. This can also be used as impaling. And believe you me, I go right through you. Secondly, what I discovered on this, the edges, they're rigid, very rigid, both sides. Almost like a serrated blade. I suggest to you, not only do they use it as a digging tool, I also believe they might actually dissect an animal, see, like a deer, and you could probably use this tool. Impalement, you rip, it'll cut. Now this is fantastic find because just imagine they use the exact same tool, identical to this, thousands and thousands of years ago. That, my friends, is solid evidence. And, of course, we have this. This, my friends, is the real deal. This is real hair from a Sierra Nevada hybrid. Okay? Now, what I'm also going to show you is this. This is actually one of the hairs that I had pulled out of that frame and sealed it in here. It's measured, gives you the length. Okay. Now, I'll explain something to you real quick. The hair I just showed you is another source of solid evidence, and here's why. This hair belongs to nothing known in the books that lives in the Sierra Nevada mountains, period. The hair samples that I have here, I'll school you real quick. Brown bear, maximum hair growth on a brown bear is 2.5 to 3 inches, or up to 70 millimeters. That's in the books. This surpasses way past that, so count the brown bear out. Black bear, up to 107 to 109 millimeters, maximum hair growth, about 4.25 inches. Average, 3.5 to 4 inches. That's it. The hair one I just showed you, the frame, is about 8 inches. Almost 10 inches actually. So it's 3 to 4 times surpasses anything known in the Sierra Nevada mountains. That, my friends, is solid proof. Right there. Now, we have this. Oh, this is one of my favorites. This, my friends, Fibia to tibia. All locked into one. This is special. Me and G discovered this about 4 years ago. I've done extensive research on this. And this does not match any bones known of any animal living in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Period. End of story. It does not match. These bones are unknown. Yeah, you know what's kind of funny? What's kind of funny is this. The bones alone, I have contacted about 4 different universities. Ones that have to do with anthropology. Excuse me. And I cannot even get a reply back from many of these professors. I've even showed them, sent them videos. And the only response, I had one, which was at UC Davis, but they wanted to charge me like a couple $1,000s just to put a test on it. I already know it doesn't belong to anything in the Sierra Nevada mountains, so I'm not going to pay a couple $1,000s for them to tell me the same information. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to get is someone to look at those bones, do it the right way. Let's get it taken care of so we know what the hell it is. So, and I suspect too, probably the fact is probably because I'm kind of disrupting of what was already put in the books, as in evidence, as in the science of it. And I hate to say this, but there is some parts in there that is just wrong, and I've already proven it is. Okay? I feel they're intimidated by it, to be quite frank. And I'll take it even further. Now check this out. And this will take it even further. Now right here I have some photos of what I think is one of the most fantastic things ever taken on a photo. That, my friends, is a decoy that was built by these hybrids. They built this, they constructed it. And it has the appearance of a deer. That is one photo. And we have another. And we have this. I have this taken from underneath. Now you can see how they construct and how they lock the wood debris together. Almost like a puzzle. Very complicated. I mean, you couldn't even build this exact same thing. Then once we got this one, I have sent a video of this decoy to some of these professors. You would think, with evidence like this, that they would be jazzed and stoked as hell, you would think. But they're not. It's like they don't want to recognize it. They don't want to give it the credit of what it really is. Ladies and gentlemen, look at here. You have to understand this real quick. That there. I want you to visualize this in your mind. This is exactly what the early hominins erectus constructed 200,000 to 300,000 years ago. If you were back in that time period and seen one of their decoys that they constructed, this is what you would see. This is one of them. This, my friends, is absolute proof that these hybrids are existing today. These hominin hybrids did not go into total extinction. That's the key right there. That's where they feel intimidated. You see in the books, Erectus and Egaster went into total extinction. That is not true. They did not. There's your proof. I just showed you proof. They're still alive today. So, and of course, we have this. These are two different types of species that are living up here in the Sierra Nevada mountains. And as you could tell, they're different. Now, probably most likely, the new refugees in the area, I don't think they're going to look like this guy or that guy. I don't know what they're going to look like yet. Hopefully we come across them. So, there you go with the solid evidence. So, we have the unknown bones, solid evidence. We have the decoy, solid evidence. We have the digging tool, which is also used as different types of tools, solid evidence. We have the hair, solid evidence. Not only that, and of course I even have them on video. Okay guys, we're going to go ahead and take a break now, and when I come back after the break, I'm going to answer the questions that I selected. Okay? So I'm going to take a break right now. I will see you in a few minutes. Okay? Bye.